Thunder Road is written, directed and stars Jim Cummings in the title role of Jimmy Arnold, a man who is just burying his mother as we meet him at the start of this movie in a 12-minute long take of this guy just utterly breaking down in the most delightfully funny of fashions. Now, this whole scene encapsulates the entire movie for me. It is drenched in some kind of tragedy, something awful that's happened, and Jim's inability to process and deal with it in, let's say, a normal way of doing that. And he turns this whole eulogy of his mother into something a lot more tragic than what it was, and a lot more degrading to himself and just plain awkward. This movie made me squirm in the most awful of ways. It was hard to watch at times. It was extremely uncomfortable watching the character of Jimmy go about the way he went about his business, his life. From then on, it's just downhill for Jimmy as his wife is divorcing him in the preceding start. His daughter is a little bit estranged. He's got a hard time connecting with it. He's got a hard time dealing with the gamut of emotions running through him. Even his workplace realises that he's not quite right, and as he is law enforcement, he's forced to take a bit of time off, a bit of time to reflect on what's happened and try and deal with a lot of that. But it doesn't quite work for Jimmy, and it becomes a tale of a man really breaking down, having his whole world taken away from him, torn asunder. Real depths of his soul is being searched because of what has happened to him, and he hits the bottom. And it sounds very dramatic and tragedy driven as well, and it is, but it's strange, it's weird, it's ridiculously funny at moments as well. You have moments where this character is breaking down and you are with him feeling the pain, and in the next minute you are laughing at the actions that he is doing, the way he is lashing out. It's just so uncomfortable. This is the whole thing about this movie. There is a wonderful performance at the heart by Jim Cummings, who allows a lot of the scenes to really just sit there and feel uncomfortable. There's not quick edits. It doesn't cut to various angles. It can sometimes just be a static long shot. And that lingering in of itself is something that most film fans are not used to, and it starts to creep into the psyche along with this action or conversation that's going on, where you really want it to cut. You want to move away from this because it's starting to feel that icky kind of way where you know Jim is going to either explode, implode, say something he shouldn't, or just ruin whichever goodwill he has built up thus far. But it's really affecting. It's one of those movies that is going to stay with me. I kind of love it for that, for the way that it creates this almost fully fledged character instantly. And that's the thing about Jimmy. A lot of his actions can be caricatured or over elaborate, but it feels true to that character. It feels true to a character whose life has fallen apart, who can't rationalise or deal with a lot of the emotions that's going on in his life, and he is struggling to cope. And it just feels honest. That's the best thing I can say about this movie. We get a real in-depth character study of somebody going through the harshest of times. I really did like Thunder Road. I felt uncomfortable. I felt icky at certain parts. I wanted scenes to cut quicker because of how I felt, because of how the movie made me feel. I found it was a really difficult kind of watch because of laughing and feeling terribly sad for this character and all the kind of things that spurred up in me. But ultimately, that's a sign of a really good movie. Something that had that much of an effect on me as I watched it can only be something that I highly recommend. It's on Netflix UK. If you're inclined, if you can make it through that first 12 minutes of just sheer, please stop doing that, Jimmy, just sit down, then you're probably going to enjoy this movie, right up to the riotous slap at the end of the film that just is so uncalled for, is so right and just had me killing myself laughing, where I shouldn't have been anywhere close to that kind of emotion. I'm looking forward to see what Jim Cummings is going to do next, because this was just unique and wonderful. I'd love to know your thoughts on the movie. If you've seen Thunder Road, let me know in the comment box below, and I will see you next time on Man v Film.